Hello, and thank you for joining me. In today's video, I am going to test some less resin glow-in-the-dark pigment powder. Now, I want to insert here that I am in no way affiliated with or sponsored by Less Resin. I just love their products. So there are 12 containers of glow-in-the-dark powders or pigment powders. This is yellow, green, yellow, sky blue. Ooh, fuchsia. Look how pink that is. Blue, magenta, blue-green, gold, coral. I bet you that one's pretty too. Purple, green, salmon, and I already said magenta. So let me set that aside. I pulled out the purple, the blue-green, the fuchsia, and the yellow-green. And I'm just going to mix a small amount of resin to try these out. Some of the molds I'll be using are, yep, the skull molds. And one of the reasons I use these so often is I really do not have a whole bunch of small 3D molds. You know, I have your standard jewelry making molds, but I need to invest in some more small 3D molds. And this is a mold that was recently gifted to me. I believe it's like a crystal, like you make a crystal necklace or a keychain or something out of it. I want to try that. I do have a chess piece mold out here, but this one I'm actually going to just pour clear because I have a use for this, a different use for it. I went ahead and got my little cat faces and dog paws out, and then I have a little gnome. So what I'm going to do is I think I want to do, hopefully, each of these skull molds in a different glow in the dark. I'm going to pour this one clear. And depending on how much resin I have left, I would kind of like to pour a little bit of each into this one as well, just to see what it looks like. And then I have these two on standby. And again, I'll pour this one clear. So let me go ahead and get the resin mixed up, and then we will start pouring and see what we have. See you in a minute. All right, I have the resin mixed up, but before I do anything, I want to do a little bit of rearranging here. Let me set these here. Okay, let me get those set there. Get that hair off. And I'm going to go ahead and pour this clear chess piece and then decant some of this. And I did mix up 80 milliliters of resin. Oh, that didn't take very much. Let me put that in there and give it some squeezes and hope that this thing stands up like it's supposed to. Just want to try and squeeze any and all bubbles that may be in there out. Put a little bit more. Yeah, it looks like some bubbles are definitely coming up from beneath. All right, I'm going to set that down. Try to set it out of the way and hope I don't knock it over. And we'll give it a little, I'm going to let it sit there and debubble it a little bit first. Okay, now I've never worked with the pigment powders, so I guess we will see how this is going to go. I think I'm going to start with the yellow green, and I don't know if it acts basically the same as mica, but that's kind of how I'm going to treat it. And these lids, they have both a shaker on one side or a pour spout on the other. This is the yellow green. I'm going to put a little bit on the spoon. I guess it's about a spoonful. So let me set that aside. And I'm just going to work with the resin until I run out. Now let me pour some in there. I don't really know how much, so let me just pour a little bit more. And we'll give it some stirs and see what we've got. I may need to add more of the pigment. As I said, I've never worked with pigment powder before. Yeah, that looks pretty transparent, so I may go ahead and add another spoon, because I definitely want some color to it. Oops. And maybe I should have done some research on pigment powder before I ever started playing with it. But let me see here. And I'll kind of stir it up and let it set and debubble. So it's still pretty transparent. And maybe it's supposed to be like that. I don't know. I don't know if I should add more or not. I'm going to let that set for a minute. And let's go ahead and mix some of the fuchsia. Well, let me get that off of there. Set that over there. And again, I'm just going to start with 1 spoon. That's extremely bright. It's a pretty pink. So let's give it some stirs and see. Just pretty. Well, there's a big chunk of powder right there. Maybe I should have put the powder in first. Well, the 1 spoon on the pink seemed to do a pretty good job. So maybe the yellow green is supposed to look like that. I still may add some more to that. I don't know yet. Let me add a little more resin. And then another spoon of the yellow green after I get the pink off the spoon. Not the pink, I want the green. Whoa, 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 whoa. That was a little bit more than a spoon. And maybe that's the color it's supposed to be. I guess we'll see when it cures and everything. All right, let's let this sit for a minute. Get rid of the bubbles, and while that's doing that, before I mix any more, I want to make sure that, let me give the top of this a spray. I want to make sure that I have enough for each one before I mix any more. So this is the fuchsia. And I'll put a little bit in there, give it some squeezes because I know that this particular mold likes to get bubbles by the jawbones. Give it some thumps. Let's go ahead and add a little more. Yeah, they don't hold near as much as I am so bad at judging how much to mix and how much is needed. So probably about half of that would have been good, maybe a little bit more. I want to make sure I have a little dome on there. We'll let that set for a minute. Let's go back to, let me move this little gnome and give this a little spritz on top. So yeah, I probably should have just mixed like maybe a little bit more than half of one of these cups. I need to write that down somewhere so I know where to remember in the future. Okay, let's go ahead and pour the yellow green just above the jawbone. I'm going to give it some squeezes just because I really don't want the air bubbles. A few thumps. And I'll add some more, see if we can't get a dome on that. A little more. Let me see what we have. And take just a little bit more. There we go. I'm going to stop there. Let me set that aside. Clean up some of my mess. Clean off the spoon. And only use maybe a little bit more than half this time. And I will do the blue-green. Let me move the purple out of the way for a second. I'll do the blue-green next. Get another stick. A little more than half. A little more than half. Even that may be a bit much, but I have extra molds sitting around that I can use. Okay, let me get, I said blue-green, we'll do blue-green next. Okay. And even this powder looks really clear in the thing, but let me put one. And then if I feel like I need to add more, I will, because I'm not seeing any blue in that blue-green. I should have put the powder in first. I always forget that step, or almost always. So yeah, I'm going to add, and maybe when it starts glowing, it'll glow a blue-green. Let me add another spoonful, and I'm going to stop there. Set that out of the way. I mean, if this stuff really works, I could think of all kinds of projects that would be a lot of fun to make with the glow in the dark. And I'm going to let this sit down and start releasing some of the bubbles. And go ahead and mix up the purple. And before I use all the clear, I want to put a little bit more in here and give it a dome. All right, to the purple. Clean off my stick or my spoon. Get a different stick. And let's try the purple. Oh boy, that was a lot of purple. It's probably more like 2 spoonfuls. Oh, it is a very pretty purple though. I don't know how well that's showing up on the camera, but it is a really pretty purple. I'm going to be pouring Mold for Life. All right, let's let this set for a second. Let me get this blue-green. Get rid of the surface bubbles. And see about getting that in here. Let me set the stick down because I'm going to have to do some squeezes anyway. So I'm going to pour it just above where the jawbone's at. And give it some squeezes. And some thumps. And see if I can get that domed off. Looks like it can use just a little bit more. Better stop there. And yeah, that just, I don't know about that color. We'll find out. Let me go ahead. That purple's pretty too, though. And maybe once, they're in the glow in the dark, maybe they will really pop in the dark. All right, let me get my purple stick. I think it was this one. Let me get it just above the jawbones. Give it some squishes. That purple really is pretty. Some thumps. And see if we can't get a dome on it. A little tiny bit more. I'm going to stop there. All right, now I guess we will try this one and hope that it stands up straight. I am thinking yellow-green first, just a little bit, because I don't know that this really even holds a lot. I've got a little yellow-green in there, and I'm going to put the blue-green someplace different because that just looks almost white. Okay, we have yellow-green. Let's do some purple. That's what we have so far. Now I'll do the blue-green and then some pink. Oh, before I do that, let me do some little squeezes. I've never used this mold before, but I'm sure Bubbles probably like to get trapped down there. All right, now the blue-green. And then some pink. And we'll just see what we end up with. Oops, that kind of went over. Okay, let me move some of this out of the way. Wipe off the mat a little bit. because I sure do make a mess. Carefully, I don't want to disturb these little pieces. I don't want them to fall over. I'm going to go ahead, I think, and do the cat ears, the dog paw. And it looks like I'm going to have plenty of left for this. Plus, I have a mold in standby over here if I need it. So, cat ears, purple maybe. Move that. Stop there. I mean, the purple really looks pretty. Whoa. And I'm making a mess. Let me see if I can't get in here and let me get my dotting tool and see if I can't clean up some of this mess. All right. And that part will hold more. A little bit more. And stop there. All right, so let's go ahead and make the dog paws the pink. Just clean that off my stick. And then I may just try to pour all this stuff into one something and see what I end up with. Oh, I have this still. Maybe I'll do it in that. Just like layer it just to see what happens. I really hope this glow-in-the-dark stuff works out. Stop there for a second. Clean up my mess. I'm good at those. Let me see if I take it that way, if I can get it off. All right. Those actually looks like maybe a little bit more in this one. And I'm talking a little bit, tiny, tiny bit. Better stop there. Let me move that. The stick cleaned off. All right, for this one, maybe do the same kind of thing that I did in there. It's tiny. I'm going to have to definitely use probably this mold some too. But let's go ahead and do some layering. Do some pink. Some of this, let's do the yellow green. And it's all about experimenting just to see what we end up with. Let's do some purple. And I still have a little bit of resin over here to mix with something. Go ahead and use the rest of that purple. And this may end up just being a big hot mess. And the rest of this blue-green. And hope I didn't overflow it. Okay, I'm going to move these cups out of the way. Move some of the stuff out of the way so I can clean up this mess and put this other mold up here. If it'll fit, it's a pretty big mold. And I have decided if I had to pour in that one, I was going to do like hearts and little round circles. Remove that and grab this. And I know I want to do these two hearts and possibly just some little round circles and maybe a bigger heart. I mean, I have stuff still over here. I still have some clear that I may want to mix up with something. Let me just give this one more little drop just to make sure it's good and domed. All right. Let's go ahead and mix up some more purple. The purple's really pretty. I don't think I'm going to mix up any more of the blue-green. Maybe one of these days I'll get better at knowing just how much resin to mix for a project. I just know that I would rather mix too much than not enough. But if I have too much, I want that plan B, and my plan B wasn't enough this time. All right, so let's go ahead and use a spoon and clean off the spoon. Put some purple in here. Not a whole bunch. The purple's pretty bright. I say not a whole bunch. I get so heavy-handed. All right. And let's give it a stir. And we're just going to see what we end up with over here, which is kind of the whole purpose of testing something, I guess. That purple is just so pretty. I don't know how well that is showing on camera, but it is gorgeous. I want it to sit for a second, though, because we have some bubbles in there. Ooh, 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 ooh. Running out of room. I'm going to carefully set it there. And let me go ahead and pour. I'm just going to mix all this again in a big heart. Yeah. That's the pink. I guess there's just a tad bit of this blue. Let me put some of this blue-green over here in just one of these dots. I'm so curious as to how that's going to cure up, what it's going to look like. And then put the rest of it in this heart. Okay. And this is the yellow-green. I may put a little purple in that too. So let me do some yellow-green in this little circle. Boy, did I put a lot in that one. I'll be doing some trimming there, that's for sure. Let's see here, let's see here. I want to use the purple on these little hearts. Let me just set this aside for a second. Clean the sticky off my gloves. And start with them purple on the hearts. See how far we go? I have a little bit of the yellow-green left. Give it a little spray. There's my purple stick. And I do think I want to... Oh, that's not good. I don't know if that was just too much alcohol. Let me let that alcohol evaporate some. I may have put too much alcohol on it when I sprayed it. Well, we'll just go back to this one. Uh, kind of want some dots. So let's see. Because I think it would be fun to make like a glow in the dark polka dotted something. I don't know what that something would be just yet, but I still think it would be fun. That one is way over full, so yeah, I'll have to do some serious trimming on that. A little bit more. Okay, let's get back to the purple now. And I definitely want at least these two little parts in glow in the dark purple. I am so sloppy. Let me go ahead and put a little dome on those and then see if the rest of it will fit in the big heart. And I have room in this one, so let me add a little bit to this because I did not add purple there. And then we will see what we have left, and whatever the outcome is, the outcome is. So let's go ahead and put it all in here. It looks like it's going to fit. As a matter of fact, there's room in there still. But that is what it is. So I guess we'll see after they're done curing exactly how the glow in the dark looks and do they glow in the dark. So I'm going to go ahead and do some bubble setting and just try to make sure nothing gets bubbled up, and I will see you in 24 hours for the unmolding. So let me go ahead and get this covered and get the sticky off my glove, and we'll see you shortly. It's time to do the unmolding. I'm going to go ahead and start with these first, just kind of because they pop out pretty easily. This is the one where I mix the colors, and that's just the fuchsia one. Let me just pop these out, and then we'll get to these. I mean, on their own, they look pretty good, except for these are the two I said I would have to trim, and I knew that. This is the blue green. This is the yellow green. And I'm still just seeing white on the blue green, but we'll see when we charge them up and see how they glow. Just pop these dots out. And move this out of the way. All right. I'm going to go ahead and unmold the little chest piece, and that was the clear. I just want to see what this thing looks like. How hard is it to unmold? Oh, that's not too bad. And it really is kind of cute, even clear. But that's for something totally different. Let me set that out of the way. Pop the cats and dogs out because I know they're easy. I'll do the skulls last, or because they're going to be probably most difficult. That purple is really pretty. I don't know that it's showing up on camera just how pretty it is. Set those down. All right, let's get the little gnome because I know he's easy too. This is the one that I did. I mixed all the colors. I mean, the backside of it looks really pretty. And you can't see really all the details in the gnome, but still want to see what he looks like glowing in the dark. And the crystal, you see, I don't know how hard or easy that's going to be to take out. It may not be as difficult as I'm thinking it will be. Or it may be. We'll see. Don't want to break it, that's for sure. Because this is the one that was like multi-colors in layers. Let me see if I can kind of push it out and pull back all at the same time. There we go. So that's what that one looks like. If it glows in the dark like it should, that might look pretty cool. I do have a little bit of trimming to do right here. All right, let's start with the skulls. This is the fuchsia. Whoops. This is the yellow green. Pop it out without tossing it, hopefully. Now, what I do notice on the yellow green, I don't notice it so much on the fuchsia, maybe a little bit, is it does appear that the pigment powder is kind of heavy because it sank in the top of the skull or the bottom of the mold. So it's definitely darker there than the rest of it. But we'll see what that looks like when it glows. This is the blue-green that still looks like white to me. But again, we have to wait to see what it looks like when it glows. And then the purple. Let me see if I can get it out of here. There it comes. That purple is just really pretty. So what I am going to do is I'm going to charge these up under some light. And then I'm going to put them in this beautiful box that I fashioned to make it dark. And shine the camera in there. We'll see what we have. So let me get these charged and I'll be right back. Right, let's see if we can take you inside the box here. It looks like the blue-green and the yellow-green are doing great, but the purple and the fuchsia, not so much so. Now maybe I didn't charge them long enough, but those two look pretty cool. All right, let me put something else in the box and see what we have. Okay, this is the gnome, the crystal, and the fuchsia dog paw. But again, the fuchsia is not showing up. So the purple and the fuchsia, maybe I just didn't charge it long enough. And it is also possible that I maybe didn't use enough of the pigment powder. I'm not sure. Okay, so it is possible. I know that when I did these two, the yellow green and the blue green, I added more powder simply because they were so translucent. Maybe I should have added more than I did to the purple and the pink or the fuchsia. I mean, if you shine, I don't know how well you can see that on the camera. If you shine a UV on it, it looks really cool. And maybe I just didn't charge them long enough. I'm not sure. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. I do want to thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.